sorry, kiddo, I really am. You have a good soul. And I hate giving good people bad news.
She don't want salami.
She don't want pastrami.
She don't want no chicken.
She don't want a roast.
She just wants a double dose of Humanoids from the deep.
They began in the water. They're not human, but they hunt human women. Not for killing.
Why the girls?
It's my theory that these creatures are driven to mate with man now. Incredible evolution.
Humanoids from the deep. Anywhere you run, any place you hide, any time you stop, they will find you. Humanoids from the deep.
So, 1980.
1980.
1980 in Humanoids from the deep.
Starring.
Yeah, walk us through the cast.
Doug McClure, Ann Turkle, and Vic Morrow, who I love Vic Morrow as a borderline bad guy or antagonist.
Yeah.
Great antagonist.
He always plays. If he has to play a despicable character, man, he turns it up to like 15, man. He does not have an on and off switch.
Yeah, but I don't think it's over the top. His acting when he does
it's not.
it.
That's the problem, is that I completely buy it, which makes me be all like, fuck you, Vic Morrow.
I know I can. Everybody else knows I can. How are you going to convince a dumb Indian, huh? Go on, let him go. Let him go.
You want to walk us through the plot on this one?
Yeah. So, if I remember this correctly, it starts off with some people on the boat. They're doing some fishing, and they got like some like tourists with them, or some people. It's like basically got people chartering a boat to do some fishing. And so they catch something in the net. They're not sure what it is. They're trying to bring it up.
Like we got ourselves some big ones, D.
One of the people fall over the boat and gets mangled. I think it's the son. It's like the younger kid falls over. Yeah. And then while that shenanigans is going on, there's a guy with a flare gun, accidentally falls, fires off the flare gun, ignites the boat blows up.
Just like in Cruel Jaws.
Nothing you can do.
Later, we were introduced to our characters. We got Vic Morrow, who's works for the can plant.
Actually, he's a fisherman, and he's trying to get a cannery there so that they can increase output and make more money for the fishermen that live in town.
If you get that cannery, inside of 2 or 3 years, there ain't going to be any fish at all.
Well, canneries mean progress for towns like ours. And progress means money. See, you and your people, you don't understand that.
But unfortunately for him, there's a local native. I forgot his name.
It's a Native American tribe. It's tribal land, basically, is what it boils down to, which is where they want to put the cannery.
Yeah.
And they're worried about contaminating the water and the rivers and streams and all that stuff.
Yeah. So he's trying to put the kibosh on that shit.
But I'll tell you one thing. You're not going to stand in our way.
That's what Custer said, Slattery.
That all being said, like so it turns out that there's like, fishy people. Very horny, fishy people. And every time that there is a hot girl that is swimming nude in the ocean, as you do, horny fish people pop up and they're all like, oh, well.
I hope you like fish sticks.
And then a second time, there's a girl who's a ventriloquist with a tent.
No, the boyfriend's the ventriloquist. But,
Was it?
but the girlfriend is like somehow turned on by this.
Ah, yes.
Yes, because the dummy talks the other dummy out of her top.
Oh, come on. Show me more than the head.
Well, the head's the best part. Billy, she's really doing it. Oh, my God. Hey, honey, want to see my woodpecker?
And then the next thing you know, horny fish dudes show up and they kill the ventriloquist.
Not as sexy as you are, baby.
So not really a loss, a net gain. and then they take her on a date.
Shenanigans ensue.
The next thing you know, this is like happening all over town, and there are women disappearing. But at the same time, there's people that are showing up like dead, and because of that, Vic Morrow is accusing the natives.
Hang on.
I'm sorry.
I remembered a crucial detail of this.
Yeah.
Was towards the beginning, a lot of the animals are dying. Like a lot of the dogs are like got slaughtered.
Yeah.
And so they're blaming it on the native guy.
That's funny. The only dog left alive is the Indians. Boys, we got ourselves a problem.
Yeah, Vic Morrow's being a big old bigot
Yeah.
is what it boils down to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's trying to pin that shit and all the deaths on the Native American.
Yeah, the Native American guy. I can't remember his name, but yeah, he's right here.
What was the name of Doug McClure's character?
Jim Hill.
Jim. Okay,
Jim Hill. All right, so we've got Jim Hill and Johnny Eagle, which really just sounds like a brand of jeans, but
Or whiskey.
yeah, I would happily have a glass of Johnny Eagle with you, sir. Yeah. But so he takes Doug Hill's sheriff guy, fisherman guy, whatever.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. They go back to the house, and the fishy people show up there, and they're trying to drag the hot blonde girlfriend off, but they stop them because Johnny Eagle has got a hell of a shot with that rifle.
and Vic Morrow throws a Molotov cocktail at the house,
Yes.
and the house explodes
Yes.
spectacularly.
That's what happens when you build your houses out of dynamite sticks.
Yeah.
Tommy, get down!
Scientist doctor lady is all like, oh, something's in the water, it's contaminated, and it's turning them into weird fishy people.
Mr. Borden strongly suggests that we keep this quiet until Kenko has had a chance to review it. Your theory could be totally incorrect.
Find out that there's a bunch of caves, and they find like one of the ladies that had been disappeared by the horny fishy people.
Who is it?
My God, it's Peggy.
But they go to town and they have the body of one of the dead fish people, and they're like, see, I told you it wasn't us.
God. What is that?
At the end of the fucking day, there's this big festival that goes on, and the fish people are like, where the fuck the white women at? And it's total fucking mayhem. There's fish people everywhere,
Yes.
raping women.
Yeah, they're not just at the fair. They like went house to house. They're
Yeah, that
trying
too.
to round up all the hot chicks, MILFs, cheerleaders, you name it. If they're attractive, the fish people have got a spot at the table for them.
And so at the end,
The first girl, the girl that they find in the caves, they bring her back. They like try to medically check her out, and she appears to be okay, but they're keeping her for observation. But even after they've shot up a bunch of the horny fish people, turns out that you know she gives birth by her stomach exploding, very aliens-esque, and a fishy person coming out. And then they like snap to credits, and it's just kind of like, okay, I guess they ran out of either film or money or both. But surprisingly, it's a really coherent film. Mm-hmm. It is open-ended. I don't know if that was intentional or a budgetary limitation, but the performances in this are surprisingly strong.
Yes.
It is amazingly relatable. Mm-hmm. The quality of the filming, the quality of the makeup effects is really good. The fish creatures kind of are amazing.
Yes, thank you. I was just sure you were going to say that, but I found them really entertaining. And there's some spots in here that are legit has some suspense to them too.
Yeah.
Which is hard to say about an 80s schlock movie like this.
The funny thing is that Roger Corman was an executive producer on this, and he intentionally had his name taken off of it because the film apparently was good enough, and he didn't want it to be associated with his schlocky ass name. This was distributed by New Line, but yeah, and New Line, Roger Corman was behind New Line, but for some reason he just wanted to make sure that this movie got a fair shake, and
rightly so, because like you said, the story is good.
Yes.
Good enough. The acting is fucking good enough. The special effects are good. There's some boobage in here, which is good. It has like everything you want from a good, fun popcorn horror movie like this.
No,
absolutely.
Feature. Yeah. I'm like legitimately, I'm going to buy this on Blu-ray. I was genuinely entertained. It is genuinely, it's creepy in parts, it's scary in parts. Like I said, all the characters, they have that lived-in quality. That you don't see Vic Morrow. You see asshole fisherman who's out for himself and his buddies.
He's probably out there making it with a buffalo.
And, they're all going to get together and harass the shit out of the local that's, standing as opposed to them because they're fishermen, by damn, and it's their town. And it's like, no, it might be your town, but it is our land.
Yeah.
And
my only real nitpick, and it's a very minor nitpick, is Doug McClure has zero charisma.
Yes.
On screen.
He's
not your
Joe
leading
Don
man.
Baker.
Oh, he's not even Joe Don Baker. Speaking of which, R.I.P. Joe Don Baker. He passed away just
just this week.
Yeah.
Like earlier this week. Yeah.
At the time of this recording.
Yeah. So, but you're absolutely right. He is not charming. He's not terribly handsome. He is, but at the same time, the funny thing is that we go through this whole story with them, and you have this automatic assumption that him and the doctor later are going to become an item, and then it's revealed very late in the film that no, his wife is at home waiting for him.
Well, they show the wife earlier in the movie.
Well, almost forgettably.
Well, this is true. She does get a lot of time in there, but she is there.
But this does so much right. It's hard to not recommend this film, even though that open ending. It's very obvious that they're like, yes, there's going to be a sequel.
Yeah.
But
again, it
minor, works.
So minor.
It just works. Is really what it all boils down to. I mean, you could pick on the budget. But the makeup effects are great. The nudity that's in this never feels gratuitous. It feels opportunistic. It's like, they went to a date. They're on a beach town, and this is before the internet, or there's no drive-in theater in town. So what do? You take your pretty girlfriend to the beach, and then you play her love songs, and then the next morning, but the next morning never comes because the horny fish people show up.
Damn fish sticks. I'm going to rank this up there with Piranha.
Yes.
With Orca.
Yes.
And Alligator and those classic things. Like all the creature features we did last year, I think fits very well in that group.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a welcome addition to that group of films. And it's not a big budget film. It's not Jaws. It doesn't set out to be. And I think that's actually the one big saving grace of this film, is that where Piranha and Orca are very much Jaws light, this is its own weird ass thing. And because it's its own weird ass thing, it holds up. Even 2025, this is 45-year-old film, and I'm gushing on it, and it's like not an expensive film by any stretch. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and knock these notes out. This movie was made for $2.5 million. It had a $2.1 million box office, which is weird because as far as film rentals go, it had 1.3 million by May of 1980, and then it earned an additional 2.5 million more in film rentals for a total of 3.8 million. So it somehow turned a profit, but the math here is baffling me. But it was inspired by the creature of the Black Lagoon, which I think is fairly obvious on this. But here's the part of this movie that I think works best that we didn't really talk about, was the soundtrack for this film was a very early soundtrack by James Horner. And James Horner did Aliens, The Land Before Time, Braveheart, Glory, The Mask of Zorro, Avatar, Apollo 13, Star Trek 2, which was the one that really kicked him off in the film industry, and Willow. Roger Corman was an incubator for talent.
Oh, yeah.
He discovered so much talent that had been untapped in the film industry that was never going to get a shot at the studios. He gave these people their shot. So a lot of 80s cinema is, you can draw it all back to Roger Corman because, yeah, he made cheap films, but you know what? It's not about the budget, it's about what you were able to do with it. And this film is a primary example of you get the right people at the right time with the right thing and just let them do their thing. Sometimes you get gold, and this is gold. This was released as Monster in Europe and Japan. Vic Morrow passed away 2 years after this because of the incident on the Twilight Zone movie. Yeah. This film actually is credited with 2 directors. One of them is Barbara Peters, who is mostly known for doing Remington Steele episodes and Falcon Crest. And then there's James Chardell, who did Slipstream with Mark Hamill after Return of the Jedi.
Never seen it.
But he also directed one of my favorite schlocky films, Deathstalker. And Deathstalker is actually getting a reboot later on this year, and I'm really excited about it. But then he also did Under the Gun with Sam Jones and Vanessa Williams, and we're going to have to do that one as a follow-up to Hard Vice.
Fair enough.
From our scholarly analysis of the films of Tom Fridley series. But I kind of really loved this movie. I had seen this probably years and years and years ago, and the only thing I remembered about it was the fish people. But having watched this again very recently, I kind of fell in love with it. And then so much so that, this became a double dose episode, because then I was like, oh shit, they remade it in 1996, and they got Gilbert from Revenge of the Nerds.
Which is a great way to segue into the next movie, so we'll be back right after this.
Here on this island, an environmental disaster and a doctor's misguided experiment have created a genetic nightmare where creatures beyond your imagination are about to transform the face of the earth. Humanoids from the deep.
Okay, so the plot of the remake.
Well, hang on, before we get into that,
let's do some cast.
Yes, we got to talk about the cast. So we got discount Jason Priestley, who I don't remember his name. I don't care.
Oh,
he's from Clueless.
Yes.
Nice stems.
You said Lewis from Revenge of the Nerds.
You're smart, easygoing. Get your father's good looks.
And then we have the guy that played Drake in Aliens, and he's the guy that's like having them dump the toxic waste into the ocean.
That is.
They ain't paying us enough for this, man.
Not enough to have to wake up to your face, Drake.
What?
Then we have Walter Goggins, who was the new sheriff of Red Rock, and he has joined his boating compatriot on that, because I'm sure you were looking at it and going, where the hell do I know this guy from? Starship Troopers. He was the reporter that was killed on Big K. He was these kids look like they can eat bugs for breakfast. That's him.
I wouldn't have got that.
Yeah, his name is Greg Travis. Clint Howard is in this.
Yes,
as
Clint
one
Howard,
of the deputies.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Okay, let's go through it again.
Why? So
this movie actually starts out way different. We got a platoon of army men or soldiers, whatever.
Yes.
And there's this mysterious box that they shoot up.
Fire!
Very Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Light it on fire.
Fire!
But yet somehow the creature escapes and goes down a sewer, and a couple people poke their heads down the sewer and they die.
But horny fish people do that to you. So.
Well, I mean, but they were dudes, so they just got eaten.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so jump back to so there actually is a cannery in this place, and
Yes.
the place is called Canco, I think is what it's called.
Something like that. And then I think that like there's some chemical. It's like Roger Corman's name is like truncated so that it's like Roger Core or something like that. It's on the barrels.
Yeah. And so, anyways, there's protesters outside, and they're protesting the Canco.
They're doing additives in the water, and
yeah.
it's disturbing the fish.
Leave the fish alone! Leave the fish alone!
Don't you people have whales to save?
And Drake is very upset, so much so that he decides to add a little more to the ocean.
Yes, he does. A little extra
Just
zing.
to piss off the protesters.
Literally.
Here's another additive.
Leave the fish alone! Leave the fish alone! Leave the fish alone!
and so we're introduced to Discount Jason Priestley. He's one of the protesters.
Yeah,
We're introduced to Lewis, who is the he's part of Canco, but I forgot what
I
part
don't know
he does.
that he goes in and he talks to the guy, and then he's all like, "Quit doing it. It's bad for the fish." And they're like, "Look how big these fish are."
You did it, didn't you? Didn't you? What's the problem? We give hormones to cows for more milk. Why not fish to fatten them up a little, huh? Look at the size of those.
Yeah. You should wait till they get even bigger. And
I think Lewis and Discount Jason Priestley have exchanged some words.
Yes.
And then later in the movie, I think later that night, what's actually Discount Jason Priestley's character name?
Justin. I was gonna say the actor's name is Justin Walker, but as to his character's name, it's Justin Walker.
So Justin shows up at the door of Lewis, and is like, "Oh no, not you!" And naturally, of course,
he's taking Lewis's daughter on a date. Yeah.
Dad, this is Matt. Matt, my dad.
I want you home at 10.
They go to the beach and they're all like having the big campfire discussion about all the shit that's going on at the dock, blah, blah, blah. And then they decide to go for a swim. And then naturally, horny fish people are all like, "Mr. Steal Your Girl."
Yeah.
and Gilbert, his daughter disappears, and Justin Long goes to the police and tries to tell them, and they're all like, "You did it. You killed her, didn't you?" And he's like, "No, I'm here telling you all this."
We were swimming around. These things, they attack. They wasted everybody.
Everybody but you.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
These could be the dumbest cops that I've seen in a movie, but somehow they decide they gotta let him go because they don't have any evidence. There's no body, there's no this, there's no that. Anyway, then he goes to the bar and he says something to Drake from Aliens, and he's all like, "I got footage of your guys dumping chemicals into the water, so I know it's you, and I'm gonna send this to the government, and they're gonna come and they're gonna get you, and they're gonna close down Canco and Roger Core, and you're gonna be out of a job, mister."
Why don't you get out of here?
When I'm done.
You're done. Be a smart man.
Hey!
Get the fuck out of here.
Hey! Get ready to fry, old man. We got your ass on video loading Senestin onto that boat.
And he's all like, oh shit, what if they really do have a tape? So they go and they like find their clubhouse and they blow it up.
Yeah.
It's very Honeycomb Hideout.
Yeah.
But with protest signs that say, "Leave the fish alone."
Hey, wrong way, buddy.
I don't know why you would bother to blow it up. There's fucking nothing in there. It was like a garden shed with some sign making equipment. And then Dr. Hottie McHot shows up, and she goes into the bar and she's all like, "There's something weird going on with the fish."
Excuse me, which one of you is Bill Taylor? I'm doing a news story on allegations that hormones are being mixed into the water.
And then the next thing you know, the horny fish people are uncovered, and they find out that they've been stealing all the hot ladies in this, and then shenanigans ensue.
I mean, it's pretty much the whole fucking plot. I mean, really, the only thing we left out is like at the end, they find out where they're hiding out at in these underwater caves and shit like that. They scuba dive in there, save the girls, blow up the fucking cave, and that's it. That's the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. The military does show back up, and they're all like, "Oh, we're gonna do this," but all the missing ladies in town. And they're like kind of doing the whole aliens thing where they're cocooning them. They're like sticking seaweed and taping them to the wall with it and then saving them for when they actually, I will say, this is a smarter script in that they remembered that women have to ovulate in order to get pregnant. So like not all the women were like, you know, taken over by the horny fish dudes.
Yeah.
They were saving some of them later for a snack. And the doctor lady is one of them, the daughter is one of them, and then Drake's wife, who's played by Barbara Niven, who I adore because she's on several Hallmark movies. But Murder, She Baked. But anyway, she's there, and it turns out that Drake actually, like, she drives him nuts.
Fran, what the hell is the matter?
But he really loves her, and why? Because Barbara Niven is milfy hot.
Fran, pipe down!
But then naturally, when the military decides that they found the nest, they're going to have to blow it up.
You gotta clear the area. We're dealing with some high-powered explosives here, and I can't be responsible for anybody getting in the way.
Explosives? And the guys are like, hey, our girls, our wives are in there, our daughters are in there, and they're like, oh, it's too late. We can't risk it. We gotta blow it up. We gotta blow it up.
Hey, now wait a second. My daughter might be under there.
Yeah, my wife.
Unless they got gills, they're already dead.
And so they steal some scuba tanks and they sneak in and they get the girls out. And then the doctor lady and the daughter and Drake's wife, they are at the hospital and they're getting checked out and everything turns out okay.
You ran the blood test I asked you?
Yes. Results are negative.
And they all leave and they're high-fiving and they're all like, woo, we made it. And then the doctor lady goes and gets in their car and the nurse runs up to the doctor and goes, oh, there was a false negative.
They made a mistake.
Who's they?
The lab. They got a false negative on one of the blood samples.
Which is kind of dumb. That's not how false negatives work. You take a second test and then you look at the results and then you go, oh, oops, that first negative must have been wrong. But then Dr. Lady, like, she explodes right there in the car, then a bunch of people run up and they're all like, did you see that shit? Yeah, if only the internet was the thing, we could have, like, gotten out smartphones and put this shit on YouTube.
So this thing is the opposite of the 1981, where 1980 was smart and competent and very well put together. This is not smart and competent, very shittily put together. It has some fun, interesting things in it. 3 of those are the explosions that came from the first fucking movie.
Yes,
we're repurposed in this movie. When the ship blows up.
Coast Guard, we have an SOS. SOS, repeat.
When the house blows up. And then there's another one. I can't remember.
They repurposed footage of the fair, the band marching past the camera and the whole carnival. They repurposed footage from that for this one too. Now, I will tell you this. I dug on this one. This was directed by Jeff Giannis, and that was Emma Sams, who played Dr. Lady. And she was a soap opera star that did, like, you know, Falcon Crest and all those kind of things too. This was produced for Showtime. So it was
this is
not
direct-to-video.
theatrically. It was not theatrically released. There was no box office information. There was also no budget information. So it was very much kept under wraps. But apparently they had some kind of money because this cast is stacked with early talent. And then talent that had, I mean, you know, granted, it like had been a while since the last Revenge of the Nerds film, so it's not like Gilbert was all like, I'm rolling in it. No, but he was all like, look, I gotta get a check.
I'm sure there was a whole lot of money spent on this cast.
It was a $1.5 million budget was the estimate that I saw.
And there you go.
That makes sense. But I will also say that the biggest problem with this film is that the script was overwritten. It's too detailed. There's no mystery. They're like trying to line everything up. They're trying to explain everything that's going on in this. So rather than it just being like a weird happening that is in this contested land area, it's now the result of toxic chemicals being thrown into the ocean, which mutated fish and human DNA. I don't even want to know how the human DNA got in there.
I think it's supposed to be like a kind of like a weird super soldier thing. They're trying to make super soldier mermen.
They took 5 death row inmates and injected them with it's a genetic code of sorts. Essentially fuses with genetic material already existing in the body.
Fishmen.
The goal was to create an amphibious soldier.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, they made a mention of it being like they were convicted felons that they were doing experiments on at the beginning, but they never bring that shit up again. Yeah. You know, so it's kind of like you overwrote it and underwrote it at the same time. You put all this shit, you front-loaded it when it didn't matter, but then when actually the horny fish people start showing up and kidnapping all the women in town, you forget to actually explain like why any of this might be happening. It's got its charms. It's not bad. The fish creatures.
Oh, it's bad. It's a bad movie. Let's not mince words. It's a bad movie, but it's shockingly entertaining.
Yes, there you go. See, this is my kind of bad. This is kind of like in that same vein as like Piranha 3D, the remake of Piranha that they did, and Piranha 3DD. They knew exactly what they were making. Yep. They knew exactly who the audience for it was, and they decided to cater to it. But I almost think that if this was a little sillier, it would be remembered more fondly.
I agree.
If it had that open ending of like, well, okay, what about all the other fish people? And oh, hey, scientist lady just exploded in her car. I kind of wish that they had done a little bit more with it. I'm going to say that the biggest, and it's David Carradine, right?
I think that's who it is.
David Carradine. As much as in the original movie, the main actor is like, you know, he's there, he's a fine actor, but he's not particularly charismatic. I can't help but see, like, you know, Revenge of the Nerds, like, you know, trying to save the town. It never left my head. Everybody else in this movie is cast fine, but he's not particularly... He doesn't look like he could beat your ass. He doesn't look like he's going to save you from, like, a fall down a chasm. He doesn't look like he's going to save you from horny fish people.
Yeah. Well, not only that, it's like it's the same problem as before. There's no charisma. There's nothing there that draws you in to make you think that he is a hero. Because there's been plenty of times where the hero doesn't have to be brave and strong.
Oh, yeah.
Or what have
He can be smart. He can be, cunning.
And be likable. And he's just
there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just fucking there.
The best joke in the movie is at the end of it, when his daughter gets out of the hospital and Justin walks up to him and is all like, you know I'm going to date your daughter. And he's like,
You were only joking when you said I couldn't date her again, right? No.
I actually chuckled at that. That was delivered and timed perfectly. It actually was everything it intended to be, that we just went through all this stuff with these characters, and he did save his daughter, and you can't be all like, you can't date my daughter. I know you just saved her life, but no, that's just a step too far. So I genuinely chuckled on that. And the shock ending with the explosion in the parking lot, I was kind of like, wow, okay, they stuck to their guns on this one.
My favorite part in this movie, though, is the diner scene where the one girl comes back, she escapes, walks into the diner, and has the belly bursting scene right there in the middle of the fucking diner.
Whoa.
Clear the table.
What the hell is the matter with her?
And that little creature was so dorky looking, and it scooted across the floor.
It was very obviously a hand puppet.
Oh my
so-
God, I was laughing for at least a solid minute on that one.
I
It
don't
was so
blame you.
good.
It was very obviously stolen straight from Aliens, because she's like she goes in and, and her stomach all blah blah blah, and then she just lays down on the table, and I'm thinking, why not? And like everybody is there, so like
Yeah. That was a laugh out loud moment for me. Every time they recycled footage from Explosion, I giggle my fucking ass off. But I mean, that's kind of where some of the charm kind of fails, short of the fact that it's just so schlocky and so poorly put together.
You're not wrong. The assembly of this film could most definitely use a polish. I would love to see Scream Factory get a hold of this and put a Blu-ray out of it, because that's the other big sin, is that the only version of this that's floating around is DVD quality, because it was 1996 and it was Showtime, and why bother with, trying to shoot this in HD. I don't know if there's HD elements of this. I don't know if this was shot in color time to look like film on TV cameras, so it's automatically low res anyway. But I would love a box set that had both versions of the film, the 1980 version and the 96 version. I would happily pay for that. I'm gonna wind up paying for one of them anyway, but I would happily throw money at that all day long. I really enjoyed the first one. I was okay with the second one, but again, there's something. I guess the lack of an antagonist as interesting as Vic Morrow is really kind of what undoes the second movie, because you had the guy that played Drake, and he can play a bad guy. We've seen him play like one of the most despicable bad guys on film in The Shawshank Redemption.
Now, I'm gonna open my fly, and you're gonna swallow what I give you to swallow.
So why they didn't give him some meat, why they decided to like take this person who's supposed to be the villain, he's dumping shit into the ocean and making the fish mutate. But no, we got to show that he actually really loves his wife, and he goes home and has a beer and kills the spider in the bathtub, and it's like that was a stretch too far.
I think they couldn't decide on whether or not the military was going to be the bad guys or if Drake was going to be the bad guy, and they're just like, well, fuck it. Neither one will be, we'll leave it kind of gray, with it. So which I agree with you. It's a big failing. There's no clear-cut protagonist. There's no clear-cut
antagonist.
Well,
with Vic Morrow, you actually get to watch the turning, because he's an asshole. He's an asshole for the whole thing. But then when the fish people pop up and start stealing all the chicks at the festival, he's like, oh, shit got real. And you get to like watch the gears turn, and it's an instant, this is not the situation anymore. With this guy, they tried too hard to make him suddenly likable. And how can you not think Barbara Niven is hot as hell?
and then missing out on the opportunity to have another festival scene in the redo was a huge miss.
Yes,
huge miss.
Yes, and in case you're wondering, the radio station from the original that was interviewing the beauty queen was KFSH.
Michael's broadcasting live from the Big Salmon Fest. We're down here at the K-Fish Radio, the Big Fish, and here's my favorite little billboard, Kitty. Oh.
So if you needed to know where that joke came from like 2 or 3 episodes ago, K-Fish. Covering all your fishing, cannery, festival, beauty queen things.
And now I'm sitting here with this year's little local beauty, Miss Salmon. Sandy, how you doing, Sandy?
I'm fine.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So, again, I love the original, and it's a recommend. It's a buy, especially like if you're into creature features. It's a must-have for your collection there. This one, it's worth a view. I'm not really gonna like recommend it. Like if you're just a casual like movie watcher, no, don't fucking watch this. It's terrible.
I was gonna say, this ironically strikes me the same way. There's the original Piranha, which is surprisingly competent and really engaging and really watchable. And then they did that original like 90s with they did the 90s remake of Piranha, which was almost shot for shot.
Yeah.
And somehow sticking too close to the original template marred it. It's not that Alexandra Paul and I think William Catt were in that one.
Yeah.
And even though they got the dialogue right and the fish look better and blah, 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 the soul of the film is kind of missing on that. And this feels very much the same. But I will say that this is a better remake than the Piranha remake was. So I would actually say watch the shit out of the first one, and then if you're like, I could use a little more of that horny fish people action, you can throw in the remake and be like, I'm done. I'm ready for some fish sticks.
I agree with everything you just said.
I just, is there anything else?
No, I think we said everything.
We will catch you next time.